usually the reason someone works in a kitchen is because they love cooking. It's like, if you don't love cooking and you're a cook, you're gonna hate your life. One time I was tired and I was dragging my feet. My chef's like, pick your feet up. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, what do you think? Like, I'm just walking. He's like, no, like, walk with intention. If you would have told me and Brandon we were gonna own a biscuit restaurant, that would have pissed me off. Like,
why?
Because it's like, I'm like, what you mean? Like, I ain't cooking, like, I'm not gonna cook breakfast food.
Craziest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Craziest thing ever?
Craziest thing.
And I also always tell people is like, if you got an idea, like, just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Like, just like if that's the destination, like, take a step that way and like see what happens. Cause like we're sitting in it. It literally was a drunken idea that we just never stopped doing. And
Now we don't even drink.
And now we don't drink. And now it's like, now here we are.
Welcome back to the NobleLore podcast. This episode is brought to you by NobleLore. We are essentially your podcast record label. We come in and we pimp your show out. We make you look good. We make you sound good. And we grow it for you. So if you have a podcast that's already existing and you want to grow it and monetize it, or you want to start your own podcast, NobleLore is where you go. And we'll come over and take care of the rest. We're in St. Louis and all over the world. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Elliot and Brandon. Sounds like the cool thing about the kitchen then is like it's like pure meritocracy. Sounds like come as you are, come up as a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Make a good food. That's about it.
I mean, it's definitely changed like for the better, but like even like old school chefs that would like Gordon Ramsay and what you see on TV, like that was the norm. Like
In what sense?
Like they can have like a more like militant type of leading style where they're gonna like scare you into doing what's right or call you what they want, throw stuff at you, like literally whatever they want. You know what I mean? So it's like nowadays you can't do that. Like you'll get sued quick. But like my chef, like I've had stuff thrown at me. I've the whole nine. Been called an idiot. Been called you name it. Like, and I think we were like the very tail end of like that being okay. Like you really can't do that now. Yeah. People.
Do you think it pushed you to be better chefs?
100%.
Yeah.
A lot of times I wish it was more not allowed, but it was still like a kind of a portion of that. Like there used to be a lot higher regard for your chef. Like you had a lot more respect for them, and they had like a lot more I guess like charge in the kitchen, whatever. It's like your sergeant can get in your face and scream at you like that, but if anyone else did, you would fight him. And not that I even want to talk to people like that. Like I want it. It's not my nature. But there's times where it's like after school, would they literally tell you on your last day, like wherever you end up, like say yes, chef, no chef. Don't say shit else. Like say yes, chef, say no, chef, and do what they say.
Why is it like that? Like it's like so strange to me that that's the ecosystem of kitchens and like,
I don't know.
It's
like just the way it was always was. And like I don't know exactly why it became that way, but it definitely is like very real. And not really anymore. Like now, and it's for the better. You know, it's a lot more like healthy work environments than in the past. But like you like look at any old videos of chefs or anything like that, and they're like going ham. And people are like think they're acting or that it's for TV. Like it's not at all. If anything, they're dialing it back because they're getting recorded.
Yeah, got you. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys say you both agreed it would make you a better chef.
100%.
Like, but then now you're saying it's for the better. So, do you like with this? Are we going to see the quality of food going down? Like as a customer, or are we going to see the service, the staff is quickly coming out? Like, what's changing? What are the pros and cons of this happening?
Well, I mean, I think that it's for the better and in a way of like the attention to detail. You know, you're more focused and you're there to work and there to like put your full attention to it because you're scared in a sense. But then it also like it turned me into a man.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Coming from like Sugar Fire and in an environment where it's loud and like you can party, and then I wanted to do stuff like I saw on Chef's Table, and it's a very intense kitchen. It just made me not so childish all the time and made me like, really pay attention to all the details, my counts, and be on top of stuff, being on time, carrying myself in the right manner, because you wanted to, be a chef, and you saw your chef do those types of things, and it's like, okay, I guess that's what it's supposed to be. But then along the way, you learn, I want to be like him, but I also don't. I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, and
Yeah, there's kind of like a term in kitchens, like being the chef of your station. Like if you want to be a chef, you got to be the chef of your station first. So it's like in kitchens, there's a lot. It's like the brigade system is what they call it. So it's like everyone has a job and everyone does their job. And if everyone does their job, everything goes smoothly. Which I think that's what kind of like drew me and Brandon into it, was there's like a very big team aspect of working in a kitchen, which like after high school ended and I wasn't playing sports anymore, I think that's kind of what like drug me in. And I also feel like I felt a large responsibility to do my job and do my part well. And if I do my part well, that means it will make other people want to do their part well. Cause it's like bad services are like one bad ticket away. Like you can have 2 tickets that either get sent back or you cook something or you drop a plate, and it's like a snowball downhill from there. And it literally happens like that. It's crazy. Like you could just be like flowing and everything's going right, and then one person sends their food back, or your food's ready but someone else's isn't, so then your dish isn't as good, and then you have to remake yours, and then that means, or you have to use the other one that you were about to serve to that table has to go to that table, and then it's just like next thing you know you're behind. So it's like, but it's like what I think is like what I think kind of, in my opinion, what came from like the change in management styles is like nowadays, like you really don't find chefs or cooks that are just there for money, because it's like you could go to do a lot of different things and make more money and work not as hard. So it's like, I think back in the day, it was like anybody who wanted to be in there could be, as long as you showed up for work. But now it's like you really have to, like, you don't really find that anymore. Like those people can go, they can work from home. They can like do whatever they can and make way more money. Cause it's like, wow, it's like usually the reason someone works in a kitchen is because they love cooking. It's like, if you don't love cooking and you're a cook, you're going to hate your life. Like just straight up. You're not going to enjoy it at all.
Cause it's like playing a sport that you don't like, but you're playing it because your parents told you have to. But it also just like revolves around sports in general. Like you want to surround yourself with winners. And when you're a winner on your station, then you're sitting next to a winner, and then you win as a team. That's like a great service. Everybody's doing their job. Everybody's running to the ball. Whatever you want to, pin it to, it's all very similar to that. And that's what I really enjoy, because there are times where we know how to work so well together now. We could go a service and say 100 words to each other. And most people are back and forth. We just know. And it's called the dance,
How'd you guys get into the dance? How'd you?
Just working together.
Yeah, well, me and Brandon been friends like 12 years now.
Okay.
So we played high school football together. Basically which is wild, my first day of varsity football. Obviously I'm like just kind of like nervous, and then this guy walks up to me and's like, "What's up, dude? I'm Brandon." And I'm like, "Hey," and dude, like, even for us to be here now to think about how we met, it's wild, bro.
It's crazy.
Then it's like, even like through then, like we weren't friends. Like we were homies on the football team, but it's like we didn't hang out outside of school. We would see each other in the hall, be like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" And that's really what it was. And then it was kind of after high school. Even then, like we would see each other at parties, or it was like, but it was like anytime we saw each other, it was like, "Yo, my guy was good," But then it's like we both just had like different paths. We were doing different things. I ended up going to culinary school, and I moved to New York. And then I was like, we just followed each other on Instagram, and he cooked at home all the time. And it was just like, I could, like, the stuff he would post, I'm like, that looks really good. So like one time when I was visiting home, he's like, yo, you want to cook? And I was like, sure.
Sounds romantic.
Yeah.
So like,
It was actually for 2 girls.
Yeah.
I was 2 cook for 2 girls.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fire.
Yeah.
It was funny. Middle of the day,
Yeah.
like we're just hanging out.
So we would literally like, I would like open my mom's fridge, just start taking stuff. He would do the same thing at his house. We'd meet at one of our houses and be like, all right, like, what are we going to make? And we would just make something. And then I think over time, I was just like, yo, dude, like, you're really good for not for just being a guy that cooks. Cause
like I always had a kitchen job or a restaurant job because it worked. Okay. I was going to art school at the time. And then he ended up just kept saying, dude, you're good at this. And I'm like, I see him in New York. I'm like, if he's saying that, then.
Yeah, because I'm like, bro, like, I'm like, no, for real, dude. Like I work with people that are work in this kitchen. And it was like a Michelin Guide recommended restaurant. So it was fire. It was a really good restaurant. I'm like, you're literally better than them. And
so how do you, because it almost seems like an obvious question, right? Like your shit tasted good, but like, how are you telling like, okay, this is,
it was more than that. Good. It was more like techniques, you know? And that's like the real big difference between like a home cook and a chef. It's like a cook learns, like a home cook knows how to make chicken parm, but a chef knows how to triple bread and knows how to break down a chicken, knows how to do all these little things. Cause like when you're in school, you don't like, it's not like today we're learning chicken parm. It's like today we're going to learn how to 3-step bread, and you can 3-step bread anything.
Yeah.
But it's like, today we're going to learn how to make a red sauce. And then while you're making a red sauce, you learn how to dice an onion. You learn how to concasse tomatoes, which is peeling the tomato, like all these things. And it's like, he was like just doing these techniques.
I didn't even
but he
know
like
that,
he didn't even know like there's names to all these things. But I'm like, and he's like, he probably saw them in a kitchen. Like, you definitely don't need to go to culinary school to be a chef. Like some of the best chefs I worked for just were like guys that ended up in a kitchen. And like I was saying, like if you go into a scratch kitchen and you ask a lot of questions and you just keep your head down and work, like most chefs, not all of them, but a lot of us are open books. Like there'd be nothing cooler to me than, and I know Brandon, like if some guy started as a dishwasher and I taught him how to cook and he opened a restaurant that won an award one day, like to me, that is like the highest honor compliment that you could ever get.
It's like once you become a chef, you cook, but you're also a mentor. And that's the stage I'm at now, is like I have to start to tell myself, hey, like you're not a cook anymore. Like let them cook and you manage, and you become their mentor, and you show them like it's not just showing them how to cook. It's the process. It's the thought process. It's like learning how to plan, like how to plan to order, how to plan to prep, and how to do these things. And then when you see someone start to excel at that, it's just like being a coach. You see your
just
athlete.
Like being professional. Like, like I've had chefs be like, yo, like shave your beard. Like, why you look like that at work? And it's like,
don't matter.
I'm cooking. I'm behind. No one can see me.
Yeah. But he's like, it's not about that. Like, it's be professional, you know, like, and it's like, you just don't think. Like one time I was tired and I was dragging my feet. My chef's like, pick your feet up. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, what do you think? Like, I'm just walking. And he's like, no, like walk with intention. And he's like, and I'm not just talking about, it's like, was Brandon saying like, it makes you a man. And it's like, not every kitchen's that way, but a lot of kitchens like call you to a higher standard than just cooking good food. Like, do it as good as you can, not because I'm making you, but it's like, if you have the chance to make something for someone, make it your best. Like we used to get in trouble. Like I love it now, but like making family meal, a lot of times, like I loved making family meal.
What's family meal?
So a lot of times, most kitchens during break time, like you get in there around 10 or 11, right? And you prep until like 4 o'clock. So at 4 o'clock, everyone in the restaurant sits down and eats together before service. And most of the time there's either one person or a group of people that come up with the idea. You delegate the work, like, hey, we're going to do this today. You make this, I'll make this. It's got to be ready at 4. And then it's just a time for everyone to like calm down. You get to know, because a lot of times like there's a big divide between front of house and back of house most times.
That's
Really?
to sit down with them and you
And
get
like
to talk to
we
them.
worked in restaurant when we worked at Visio, like it was a rule that we couldn't sit with the kitchen. Like you had to sit with someone in the front of house.
Why not?
Because we're around them all day.
Yeah.
So he's like,
you got to get to know
so
each
it's like
other.
get to know the other people that make our restaurant go,
Gotcha.
and it's like helps you understand like
Yeah.
like I was saying, every part matters. Every single piece matters. Like from the guy washing dishes to the person that hosts, from the hostess that greets the person when you walk in. There's someone like no one can do their job without someone else doing their job, and it's like it's very easy to think that like either your job's more important or that you could like do it on your own, but it's just not the truth because it's like if we don't have plates to plate on, like then we can't plate, you know what I mean?
Right.
But there's a guy washing all those plates.
It don't matter how good you are at cooking
if-
the food if you don't have a plate to serve it on. It's zero.
And it's like, I mean, some of the best, like not even some of like the best restaurants I've ever worked in had the best dishwashers. Like
really?
where they were quick, the things are clean, but that at the same thing, we would really take care of them. And like, if you ever saw like front of house not stacking their plates, like we ride for our guys, but like, yo, don't do that. Like
Clear your plates.
yeah, clear your plates,
Organize
stack them up, organize those. And it's like, but like we feel that way because someone taught us to be that way. You know what I mean? So like when you're the chef and you're like the mentor, you have to take that seriously. And it's just like, it's the same reason people that sit on the bench or on the practice squad, like we can't practice if we don't have 11 more people on the team to practice against. It's like every single portion, every single person matters as much as the person next to them. And I think it's like the culture of the business is like really important of just like for instance, like if you would have told me and Brandon we were going to own a biscuit restaurant, that would have pissed me off. Like,
why?
Because it's like, I'm like, what you mean? Like, I ain't cooking. Like, I'm not going to cook breakfast food. Like I honest to God would have said that, but it's
we imagined ourselves with a fine dining restaurant, but it's not completely out of store.
No. I mean, we'll definitely get there. But for me, I think I really had this moment where I realized like, I just like to cook for people. Like it doesn't matter if it's a sausage, egg, cheese, or if it's like a $100 steak. Like it truly does not matter to me. And I used to think it did.
And I think that dinner at the Loft really opened that for us because we started seeing the vibe that we like, and the things that we like, we just let people enjoy it too. And it really took off and it made us feel very proud.
So you can change someone's day. You could change someone's mood by making them food. And
How'd you guys start dinner at the Loft, by the way? Like what?
We actually worked down the street at the last hotel. And that was the second place we worked together. Third.
Yeah.
So let's actually backtrack even further.
Yeah.
So you guys go from cooking.
Okay, so
cooking for some ladies to.
So I moved down here with my girlfriend at the time. We went to culinary school, and
after you guys had been cooking together for a little bit.
No, this is like how
I guess
this is how it started. After we cooked in.
So we would like cook at my mom's house, and then
and you're not in culinary school at this point in
No,
time. Brandon is not.
I was being shown every branch of the military by my parents saying, hey, they have videography and photography for here, but you need to figure out what you're going to do with this. And they were trying to tell me to go to the military. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. I am not going to do that.
Yeah. So like basically, so I guess where we were before when we were talking about like, yo, you're really good at this. Basically I started just getting in his DMs like crazy, being like, you need to drop out of art school and go to culinary school. Yeah. Like I would text him like, it was pretty often.
Yeah.
Probably too much. Not, but
what was going on in your mind, Brandon? Were you like receptive to that, or were you?
Yeah, because I was a prep cook at Sugar Fire, and I just got the job part time because it was in my parents' neighborhood. And my dad and I love grilling and smoking meats, and like we turned a 1952 GMC refrigerator into a smoker. It's huge. It was really cool. So I just went up there and I was like, you just opened, you need people. So I was peeling and cutting hundreds of pounds of potatoes, pulling all the French fries. Like I was getting a workout at work, and I started working my way up, working service, and then I was able to make like sides. But I was in art school at the same time, and I was sitting in this figure drawing class, and we used to have to draw naked people, and it was always very interesting. And they're in the middle of the room, you know, and it's just a circle of people, and we have these big easels, and we're like drawing. I just started packing my stuff up. It was like a 3.5 hour class, and I'm like an hour in, I'm like, I'm done with this. I just start packing up, and my professor's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm done." And he goes, "What do you mean?"
He's like, my
Like,
homies in
we
my
still
ear.
we still have 3 more classes to finish this drawing. I said, "No, I'm done with school."
Like,
And
I'm
he's
not coming back.
He's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I'm not coming back." And then my homie that was in class, he's like, "What are you doing, dude?" I'm like, "Hey, we're friends on Facebook. I'll see you around, dude."
It's nice to meet you.
And he actually just reached out not too long ago, asking to like for for us to cook for one of his events.
No way.
Yeah, so it's like I still made a lot of really good friends, but then I came home and my mom was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm done. I want to go to culinary school."
Oh.
And then
Fire.
signed up, and then
Yeah.
moved down here and did my externship from culinary school at Vicia.
And what is it?
Vicia.
Vicia. Okay.
Yeah.
It's right. It's in the Cortex by
Okay.
IKEA.
You should go, bro. It's fire.
It's a really cool restaurant. And then Elliot hit me up, and my relationship at the time was rocky. And he's like, "Hey, bro, I'm moving downtown." I'm like, he's like, I really need a roommate. How are you and Heather? I'm like, "We're not doing too hot." And then
yeah.
You're
I
kinda
can't-
like,
yeah. And
antennas
then
going
he's
up.
like, "Just let me know, dude. I'm like, I move in like 2 weeks." And one day I came home, we got an argument, and then I just drove to Wash Ave, and I was like, "I'm getting a piece of pizza," and I had a beer, or probably a few too many beers,
Uh-huh.
and a piece of pizza. And I texted him, I'm like, "Bro, how much is rent?"
Yeah.
And then I told her, I was like, "This just isn't working out." And so I stayed in the second bedroom until he moved in. And then actually I moved in before him because he was coming
Yeah.
from Iowa.
Got you.
so
And that's
yeah.
where you're coming from, Iowa, from doing what in Iowa?
So that was after culinary school. I lived in New York for a couple years. That's where I did my internship. And then I ended up getting a job there. I lived there for like a little under 2.5 years. So then when I moved back to our hometown in Wentzville. I literally lived there for like a week, and I was just like, hell nah, not happening.
No.
So I went to go visit my dad in Iowa. And I stumbled upon a restaurant called Cobble Hill. They got like James Beard nominations and like the whole nine. So I ended up working there, kind of went all the way up the ranks and ended up as the chef de cuisine there. But then it was like, I always knew I wanted to own a restaurant in St. Louis.
How'd you always know that?
Well, I guess so. Honestly, before even culinary school, I always like was just obsessed with restaurants, like the atmosphere. I loved going out to eat, trying new things, but I actually wanted to work front of house. I really wanted to be like restaurateur and just like create brands and open restaurants. I think kind of by chance, I ended up in a kitchen in the back of house and then culinary school. But like when I was in Iowa, it's like I knew I didn't want to own a restaurant in Iowa. So I was like, what's the point of me living here? And it's like, so I was like, I got to go back home and kind of get my name out there and start meeting chefs and working in different restaurants. But I was just like, I knew Iowa wasn't like going to be where I was at forever. So that's when I was moving back, I needed a job. And I knew Brandon, and he was at Vicia, so they actually needed somebody. So that's kind of how we came together as far as where we worked together. But we were also roommates. So like, and we worked the same station. So it's like,
Yeah.
like, dude, we were outside
For real.
outside of the 6 hours of sleep that we got some nights. Like we were literally next to each other
Yeah.
all the
And
time.
we were like, at first, our egos were clashing. We're like, "No, dude, I know this. And then one day we're just like, "Bro, enough. Like, you're really good at this. I'm really good at this. And let's like meet in the middle and get like,
Let's teach each other.
let's stop arguing. Like, we're both great, like stop arguing."
How long did that take to get to that point, from the clashing to
Like
that
a
point?
month.
Okay.
Yeah,
So there was a month of clashing going on there.
Not like hard. Like,
Sure,
we
sure,
never
sure.
really
Yeah.
collab, but there were
just
heated
moments. There was just a
Yeah.
lot of like moments. So it's like we're also roommates, and like when I'm like, I mean, imagine being by your best friend 20 hours a day, every day,
Yeah.
all the time. So it's
Yeah.
like it's normal. But then we kind of just had this moment where it's like, dude, this like we live together, we work together. This isn't the way it should be. So it's like, you know, like I'm good at these things, you're good at those things. Like, why don't we like work together and teach each other and see what we can, how much better we can make each other, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, let's say that your trajectory is like very linear. Like once you hit that point of like, let's teach each other, was there a sharp
Yeah, we
increase?
became like our friendship was like shoo, like took off. And that's really like when it went from just being like, we know each other, we're homies, we're roommates, and like that's when we became like friends, like really, really close friends. And then so I guess from Vicia, I left Vicia like
a year.
Yeah, it was like maybe a little less than a year. And then that's when I got into the niche food group. And then it was cool because we were still roommates, but we worked in separate spots, which I think was good for us, you know, like created some like separation. And then we were just like learning different things.
Right.
So it's like I went and did my thing so I worked at Pastaria. I worked at Sardella when it was open at the time. And then eventually after Sardella, I got a message to open the last hotel that's down the street. And then when they were asking me like, do you know anybody who would be good? I was like, 100%, my best friend. So,
and at that time, like I was thinking of moving to Thailand. Yeah. And
you're at Viserys?
I was at Vicia.
Vicia, yeah.
And my friend Jack, he had an opportunity, like he has family there. He's from Bangkok. And I didn't think it was really gonna happen. So I just had my options open, and he mentioned a hotel. I'm like, there's a lot of hotels in Bangkok, you know, and if I have that on my resume, he hit me up, and I was like, sure.
So what are you opening a hotel? What does that mean exactly in the?
So I don't know. You know the last hotel?
Uh-huh.
So we were the first opening kitchen team, and like, and that at the time, the whole hotel was based around the restaurant. Like it was supposed to be like
craziest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, craziest thing ever.
Craziest thing.
Why?
Yeah. It's just so it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, overnight. There's weddings going on. There's ballrooms. There's meetings. It was nuts, bro. But like
basement kitchen.
It also made like when it came time to open this, not that it was easy, but I'm like, we opened a 12th floor. So there was 3 kitchens. Each kitchen had different menus.
And you're managing all 3 kitchens?
More or less.
I worked my way up, but he started off doing that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was just kind of like, you know, like I'm like watching the main line, and there's the rooftop going on. There's separate menus. There's 3 different work staffs that flip all throughout the day. There's no gaps in between services. So it's like breakfast goes into lunch, goes into dinner, goes into overnight service. All while that's happening, there's ballrooms, there's like corporate meetings. Like it was nuts, bro. Like crazy. But it's like we did it, you know, and it was very hard and we learned so much. But while we were there working there is when COVID hit. So yeah, COVID, which
changed the food industry probably more so than almost anything else.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, I feel like COVID either like completely derailed you or it made you realize what you could do on your own. And I think for us, that's when Dinner at the Loft started.
Right after COVID or during COVID?
During.
Okay. So we were just like
our stimulus checks went to plates.
Yeah.
Like silverware, fryers, cast irons,
just basically everything
pots,
we needed.
everything.
And what were you cooking out of for Dinner at the Loft?
It was my loft.
Okay, but the business model of Dinner at the Loft is you go to someone else's?
You come to my loft.
Got you. Okay.
So we basically one night we're like, honestly very drunk, and we're like,
Yeah.
dude, we could cook
Dude.
right here. Like, why are we waiting for
Yeah.
like to find a job or for this and that? I'm like, we could cook right here. I got a dining room table. So like we literally sat there, we wrote a menu, we posted it on our both of our personal Instagrams, and literally we woke up in the morning, it was sold out.
Fire.
Yeah.
So then we were like,
Oh,
they were like, oh shit, like we gotta buy plates. Like,
But like during that time, we were also like traveling to people's houses.
okay.
We were doing that during COVID.
You were
but
hustling.
We were doing that
Yeah.
for a while, but like dinner at the Loft is like when we started it as Loft. It was like
yeah, it was kind of like one
that's
off,
what
like
we named it.
it was kind of like one off times, like, hey, like, will you come to my house? And we're like, sure. And then, hey, can you go to my house? And we're like, sure. And then Brandon would get texted and like, hey, can you cook for me? And so we were like, just kind of like, I would cook, he would cook, we'd cook together. And then there was kind of like a time where it all stopped and no one was calling us anymore. And we were like, dude, we need to like get in people's faces.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's name it. Let's make an Instagram. Let's just see like if we stay in front of people's faces, if we can like keep this thing rolling. And that's kind of like where we are like, all right, it's called Dinner at the Loft. We'll start doing it at our house. So we had 8 seats. That's how many we could fit. So we would literally post a menu, and the first 8 people that would hit us up would come to my house, and we'd make them dinner. And like,
There were even a few times where, because we lived on the same street,
Yeah.
and I had my loft, and there were a few times where people had like cocktail hour parties at mine. So I'd make snacks and we'd do cocktails at my house and then walk down the street and do dinner at the Loft, 5 courses, and just be like, all right, because I had a roof and people would have cocktails on the roof, come down, have snacks, and then they'd get in their limo and go do their thing, or in their little party bus and go do their thing. And then we'd walk down to Elliot's house and then set up and do 5 courses and then go to work the next morning.
So it was like kind of like you were saying, it was just like, and I also always tell people is like, if you got an idea, like just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Like just like if that's the destination, like take a step that way and like see what happens. Cause like we're sitting in it. Like
Right.
that's
right.
literally, and it's like people like think that's too like it's too simple, and I'm like, but it's
simple.
It
It's
is simple. Like, and it literally, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's
Like I see
hard.
the picture of your first show,
Yeah.
and it's like that's literally what it was. We were like, hey, like bro, 8 people are coming here on Friday, whether like it's already, so we need to be ready. And like then it's like we got a little better. I think when people started knowing we would come to their house, especially during COVID, which I'm not sure how legal it was, but we'd show up with masks and stuff, and people would be like, bro, take the mask off. So we'd be like, okay.
Sometimes we go to people's houses without a mask, and then
they'd be like, here you go.
on,
So it was like weird, but like we were just like, if they call, we're gonna go. And it's like at first we didn't have a defined, like we'd give someone a price, and if they were like, we can't pay that, we'd be like, okay, then what can you pay? And it's just like, we just wanted to cook. We just like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
We're
Do
hungry,
it. Just
starving.
do it. And it's like, we had like this saying, like, we don't say no to anyone. So it's like, whether you want us to like cook burgers for your kid's birthday party, or you want us to cook in your mansion, like I'm pulling up and I'm cooking for you for whatever price we agree on. And eventually we like got to raise our prices and get more solid with things once we like got good at it. But it's literally was a drunken idea that we just never stopped doing. And
Now we don't even
it's like,
drink.
and now we don't drink. And now it's like, now here we are.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Talk about not drinking. So like what, because I mean,
We were
the
actually
kitchen
just-
industry is.
Yeah, we were just talking about that today. I'm 166 days, and that's like 5 months and almost 6 months. And he's like,
I'm pulling up on like 1,000 days.
Nice.
So like a little less than 3 years.
Yeah.
But I guess we both can collectively say it's weird. Like we would have all these conversations. Like funny enough, we'd be drunk and like me and Brandon are both the emotional guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, we're like legit. We couldn't be more best friends. Like we're brothers, straight up. So
I have
like,
4 sisters, and I don't have any. I'm the oldest. I don't have any brothers, and it's like,
so we've like just over the years, we really opened up about, things we struggle with or whatever it is. We just know each other really well.
Yeah.
But it was always this idea that we knew we would never, ever get where we needed to get if we didn't stop drinking. And it was like, I knew for a fact, I'm like, if I could tackle this, it's going to open up everything.
So describe the details of why, because I've read about 6 months about sober completely. Like, why? What are the details behind that of why you're like, yeah, I'm not going to get to where I want to go if I'm not sober?
So I mean, for me, the big thing for me was basically my dream job. When I moved to St. Louis, there was a restaurant. I was like, if I could work anywhere and be the chef, I want to work at Taste in Central West End. I don't know if you ever went when it was open. But I ended up getting it, which was like literally a dream come true. It was wild. Yeah. But I was not prepared to be a chef the way I thought I was. I think at the time I would have told anyone in the world I could open a restaurant tomorrow. And I was quickly humbled, very quickly humbled. And I guess a part of that was, I would drink, but it was more social. Mm-hmm. And I definitely drank too much, but it wasn't like, it was very much a social thing and just like kicking it with my boys. It was never like trying to drown anything or anything like that. But, like as you get older, you have more responsibilities. Like I'm a dad, I'm trying to run this restaurant. So my drinking was a big part of like my relationship with my daughter's mom kind of crumbling at that point. And then I lost my job, to be honest, for drinking at work. And it was just very like, dude, like you are going to continue to make mistake after mistake after mistake. If you don't like own up to these things, like you are running from all these problems using another problem as like a mask to like kind of hide it all or feel better. So for me, that was kind of like the start of it all. But I think very quickly, I just realized like my mind, like how focused I was and how my priorities were like all in line. And it was like really hard at first 3 or 4 weeks, and then after I got a little more normal of like not drinking, I just felt like so incredibly locked in, bro. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, and then from there, it was like almost like craving, like just being more locked in, and then it's like I had all these good things happening. And I guess kind of like a side note of that was whenever I almost didn't take that job at Taste because Dinner at the Loft was doing so good. And I was like, why would I stop doing this to go like work for someone? Mm-hmm. But I wanted to be an executive chef. It was probably like my ego mostly. But I think after that was like, all right, now I can like reattack this thing that we started together and kind of put on pause. And then just like my mental health, like literally every single area of my life, like every single area was better. And then it's just like, I just craved the growth and everything that came with it, honestly.
Man, I resonate so deep. Like I'm like so aligned with that whole thing. Like I wasn't an addict by any degree, but it's, you get addicted to that focus and that growth, like completely and utterly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. What about you, Brandon? What about where you're starting?
Well, mine is more recent than his, but I started to really see how much he changed. Mm-hmm. And I quit drinking for like 3 months. I was in a relationship at that time, and I felt really good. But then I just kind of just had a drink here and there, and I really slowed down a lot compared to, COVID really it got out of hand.
Yep.
And like it was more of like an occasional thing, and then it kind of picked up here and there, go in phases. And then when my relationship ended, it picked up, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was because I was like really sad. It was more so I was trying to occupy myself and like be around people. And then I started going to therapy and started working out a lot more. For the last 2 years, I would run, here and there 3 miles or a mile, like once or twice a week. But then once my relationship ended and we didn't live together anymore, I really started doing all of that, going to therapy, working out, but I was still drinking. And Mondays are my absolute day off. And Sunday nights, it's our last day of service. And then we go out, have drinks, and I wake up anxious. And I'm just like, I don't want to feel like this. I want to go ride my bike. I want to go run. I have therapy today. So then one day on a Sunday, I just was like, I'm done. I had a few drinks, more than a few. And I was just like, I don't feel good. This isn't doing anything for me. And then because I was doing a lot of reflecting in therapy and my journaling, and it was a lot of the times that I made a mistake, or I did something stupid, or I made a bad decision, or I spent too much money, or did whatever, I was always under the influence of alcohol. And then I started to not, and then once I stopped drinking, I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like a whole new person. And like Elliot was just saying, it's like, you almost have to reintroduce yourself. He said that to me. He's like, think about it. Like you have to reintroduce yourself to people because they knew you as this person. And that person gives me so much anxiety. And I don't ever want to be like that because that alcohol was a mask of someone that's not me. It was more so like, oh, I'm more talkative when I'm drinking, so that's why I'm going to do it when I'm socially drinking. But then I take it too far, and then I'm socially not the person that I'm supposed to be.
That's right.
I'm selfish. Even though I think I think I'm a good person, my actions aren't living up to that, and then I get anxious about that, and then I'm wasting days, wasting my happiness off of just trying to drink one substance. And
I think that's like a big part of sobriety or becoming sober is like, we've talked about it a lot. I'm almost 3 years sober, and it's still something that like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. Like, I can't believe I hurt that person that way and like didn't care. And it's like, it's also like Brandon was saying, is like reintroducing yourself is like, you have to like truly let go of that person, and like they're gone. You did what you did, but it's not that easy. Like there's a lot of like guilt and shame that come along with just thinking about things you've done. And it's like, I think if you talk to anyone who's been on a journey of sobriety in whatever field or whatever kind of aspect, would agree to one degree or another that it's like, there's a big part of it is forgiving yourself and like letting it go. Because it's like for me, that would be a big reason I would even drink in the beginning. Like I would think about things I've done or things I've said or whatever, and it's like, I'm gonna have a drink to not think about it, and it's just like this spiral.
It's crazy cycle. It's crazy cycle.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's the most dangerous thing about alcohol for me is that like in every situation, if I'm sober or even if I'm high, whatever it is, like I'm thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong. Like this could go wrong here and this could go wrong here. And then when I drink alcohol, all that goes away, man.
Yeah.
I'm like present, right? It's almost like I was meditating for like years and unlocked something in 10 minutes of drinking.
Yeah.
And then it's like so dangerously addictive in that sense.
Yeah.
And then so like when you give it up, you're coming out of it like, okay, like how can I reintroduce myself to the world that is comfortable in the world now, right? Like how do you find that comfort? And you actually have to go and find it now.
Well, it's also like, and it's like, in some instances, like you don't get an opportunity to reintroduce yourself. It's like, the impression was made and you have to own that for your rest of your life. And that's like, it's hard because it's like, or even like you see old friends and they want to like chop it up like you used to. And you're like, yo, I don't do that no more. And they're like, oh, are you like, you're too good? It's like, no,
it's just not my, it's
like,
not my thing.
I don't like, I guess boiled down to a sentence is like, I just didn't like who I was. And that was the truth. It's like, I don't like who I was when I was like that. And it's like, I think like I drank all the time. Like I'd say Brandon was pretty good. Like he would drink after work. But then it was kind of like, I would wake up it wasn't like I woke up and started doing shots, but I mean, like if I was at work and I would keep little shooters in my bag. If I wanted a drink, I'd go take one. And it's like, what's wild is like, it's not like everyone knew I was drunk. I was very functioning, if that's what you want to call it. You know, like I'm gonna show up to work and I would do my job and I would crush. Like I was always on my shit as far as work, but it was like my outside personal life. I didn't care about any of that stuff, bro. Like I didn't care about working out, like none of that. My apartment was dirty. I just didn't care. You know, and like I was so like, as long as I'm a badass chef, whatever, I could do what I want outside of that. And it's
everything
just like,
else will kind of just take care of itself. That was my mindset, is like, if I just get really, 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 really good at cooking, everything else will fall into place. Just get really good at what you're at. And then that's the complete opposite.
So that's a false belief, right? So what is the opposite of that?
The opposite is like
how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, it's like work-life balance too. Like you have to understand cooking and life are like separate. You gotta know, like, oh, you're on time with putting your orders in, but are you on time making your car payment? Are you on time with this? And it's like, I have a few days to do that, but would you say I have a few days to put this order in? You have to like have those conversations. And it's like I was always on my shit at work, and if I wasn't, I felt so bad about it. But I didn't hold those same expectations in my personal life. So now it's like, oh man, like you need to make this.
You can only run for yourself for so long. Like you can.
And now I'm reaping all the bad mistakes that I made.
Financial mistakes. I'm like, ooh,
but that's part of it.
Hey, I know it.
Yeah. And but you have to learn from it. And and I beat myself up because it's like up there it says stop comparing yourself to others, you know, and you can sit here and think about these things all the time, but it's like I put myself in this situation, or I dug myself in this hole, and it's like now it's time to dig myself out. Sometimes you have friends with you to pull you out of that hole, you know, and you got to pull your friends out of that hole too.
Where do you guys think you would be at if you guys hadn't become friends?
Bro,
I'd be working for somebody still.
Yeah, I mean,
with the hopes of like opening my spot one day, but like I don't know. We just got lucky because it's like we both have the same vision. We were very similar people, you know. We're big-hearted people. We like to take care of people. We don't like to take advantage of people because we've been taken advantage of, you know. And we want to help change the industry in the ways that we wish we would have been gifted, you know. Yeah,
I mean, I think separately of food, I think what makes all this happen is we have like our personal beliefs really align. Like we both have big hearts for people. We want to like we allow people to do pop-ups here for like I know is the cheapest price in the city because I know that because I went out there and like we were there and we called these people and we're like, hey, can we use your space? And they're like, yeah, it's this much. And we're like, all right, don't have that. But like I think separately of that, like there's times where we're like, yo, we need to buy this person this thing, like whoever that may be. We've done it in different instances. And I think a lot of business owners would be like, nah, like we can't do that. We need this. But like we value that above money. Like, don't get me wrong, we want to make money, but we both truly want to be a part of our community. I want anyone that walks in here to be happier than when they leave. Like that matters to me so much more than the money. I think the money will come. Like
absolutely.
If we need to spend this for that, or like, I hate money, bro. I hate the way it makes me act, makes people act. It's just like, money's like I had like my mentor, Andy, from Iowa, he would always tell me like money is just a means to get things done.
It's a vehicle. Yeah.
Like outside of that, like you're going to lose it. You're going to make it. Sometimes you'll have a lot. Sometimes you'll have a little, but like your character is yours forever. How you make someone feel is forever. And how like, if we can impact someone that works here and make them better, that'll last forever. But it's like, if like trying to just do things for a buck. It's like I hate that you have to in some degree care about that, or else like it all ends, you know. But like having someone like a business partner where we align on like a character level and like a personal level, like far outweighs anything else. And it's like we like, bro, there's times where we were just hammered, bro, just hammered, and we'd be like honestly sitting there crying, just be for whatever reason. And it's just like, but I could say we both knew this would happen.
Yeah.
100%. I knew that there would come a time where me and him would have a space that we could call our own, and that it would be the start of something way bigger. And I don't even know what bigger is. And like, that's what how he feels too.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is, but we know we're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I feel very confident that we're like walking in the will that God has set up for us. And it's like just on us to make sure that we're doing our part day by day, just like moment by moment, instance by instance. Like, are we like aligning? Like, does this match up with what we had intended from the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, like now that we have money, not like personal money, our business has money.
Yeah.
Now that we like making money as a business, you know, it's like, are we gonna pay ourselves a lot, or are we gonna try and pay everyone else more? And it's like, I want everyone that works here to be financially secure, to where like they feel like they're making a good amount of money, that they have a life outside of here that they can call off if they need off, that they can sit here and talk to us. And I feel like we both feel like if we just hold on to that, like the rest will fall in place. God's going to take care of the rest. We just have to make sure we're like doing the right thing, taking ourselves out of it. And how can we serve people, serve our community, serve the people that work with us, and everything else will come. And it's like, do I wish it would come faster? Like 100%, like 100%. But it's like the same way I knew that one day we'd have a spot, I know there's going to come a day where we're like reaping the benefits, like the financial benefits of owning a business.
Yeah.
But it's like, we just got to stay true to like who we are and what we wanted it to be, which is hard at times. Cause it's like, well, you know, we could do like, but it's like, no. And it's like, I think any other business partner but him would have pulled me away from that.
Gotcha. Totally. That's amazing. That's really, really amazing. That's in a similar vein. I think like if I had $1 billion right now, I wouldn't even know how to manage it. Like you have to go through the suffering, and you have to go through the patience creating events.
It's like, it's a huge part to me in becoming a chef. Is like, in my opinion, you should start as a dishwasher, work from dishwasher to, you know, another station. Then you work another station, you work another station, whatever the station is, whatever order it is, it doesn't matter. You have to work these different things so that when you're up here, you've put those fires out. And I still think that I know I still have so much to learn, especially with cooking and managing and doing all that. But like, I'm aware of that, you know? And yeah, it's super important. Yeah.
So when you guys are talking about the vision of going bigger and your bigger goals, what is, you know, well, I guess maybe I'll backtrack a little bit. Like, what does food, what is a restaurant, what does dining have? How does that help a community? You know, like, what do you see the impact that it has on, from the household to the neighborhood to the whole city?
I mean, I could say for us specifically, like I always tell the guys here, like, there's a good chance we're the first person anyone talks to on any given day. And not everyone has someone being like, have a good day. Like, or just encouraging them, or to any degree. And that's just like on a breakfast level. But I think even like when dinner at the Loft started, like when we started during COVID, it was like a lot of larger world issues going on, you know, politics and race and all these things. And we would always start every dinner with being like, hey guys, like, you know, there's a lot going on in the world, but for the next 2 hours, we get to enjoy a meal together. And like, these 8 people, I can't tell you how many times, like these people never in a million years would have spoke a word to each other had they not booked a ticket and been sitting at this table on this night with us. And it's like, we've seen it happen so many times. Like these people are like legit friends after coming to our dinners. And it's like, I think from different economic standpoints, different religious beliefs, like you name it, bro, all of them. And it's like now these people had a chance to like strip away all the fluff or all of the things that you're supposed to think or whatever. And it's like food is what allowed them to get to know each other. And from there, like these friendships just spring out from there. And I think that's what every restaurant does. It's like every civilization is based around food.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you look back.
You
like,
need it to survive.
Like, and it's like, it's a cultural thing. And I think for me, it's just like, that's so cool to me that I can like create this atmosphere where people are in a room together that they wouldn't be in a room together had they both not wanted a biscuit at the same time.
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Oh yeah.
and then it's like separately of that, you know, we try to do like charitable like things, but I think again, that's money. And it's like, that's the least of it.
At the core of it, it's that
Mhm.
it's that
It's
ability to bring people together. Would
Yeah.
you agree with that, Brandon?
Yeah,
or do you
bringing
have a-
people together, taking care of people, you know, and just creating a good time, creating memories, sparking memories. One time I had someone come to me and I didn't even know how to react. I almost started crying. They were like, oh my gosh, who made this dish? I was like, that was me. And they're like, like literally like crying. And they're like, this reminded me of my uncle, and my uncle passed away, and it was such a memorable experience. Thank you so much. And I'm like tearing up. I'm like, you're welcome. Like,
Yeah. I think probably like one of the coolest dinners we did
amazing
was it was like their grandma, and I don't know if she worked in restaurants or whatever, but she like loved dining out, and she had really bad dementia at this point. So like they just stopped going to restaurants, and she was nearing the end of her life to whatever capacity, and was like, we would just love to like go out to eat with our grandma one more time. So we went to their house, did they come to us? I think we went to their house.
yeah, we went to the house.
And like you should have seen, she was like lit up so crazy, bro. And it's like being able to do that and like give people that was for us is like, you can't match that. You can't buy it. You can't put a price on that. Like we let them have this experience with their grandma one more time
For the rest of their life.
and they like will hold on to that forever. And what's crazy is remember how much she was slamming cocktails, bro.
Yeah.
And we were like slamming them, bro.
Slamming them.
And we were like, should we? They're like, should we? No, they were like, no. Like, no, this is what it's about, you know?
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's like, and then we had another moment where these people went to, in COVID, they would do their anniversary in Hawaii every year. The whole family would go. And obviously they couldn't go. So they like sent us the name of the restaurant. We looked at their menu and we like built this whole menu based off of what we read from there. And we showed up to their house. It's like decorated like Hawaii, and they have all these things. And it's like, we got to do that. They wouldn't have been able to have that experience had they not called us. And it's like, another thing is like, we start every menu from scratch. We've never served the same menu twice. So we sit down.
Dang.
Yeah.
We like, what do you like to eat? What do you not like to eat? What can't you eat? And then we start from there. And we can honestly say like we've done over 150 to 200 dinners. We've never, ever, ever served the same menu twice.
Why do you do it that way?
Because it's like,
It's
along with
boring.
the experience.
Yeah,
adventure.
It's like we want to create what you want.
Mhm.
Like, what do you want? Like, what do you see in your head? What do you want to taste? Like, give us things. What can you not eat? Like, what don't you want to taste?
Mhm.
You
Yeah, 'cause
know,
it's not about us, you know?
and
Like the biscuit, like when you're in here, it is about us. It's what we want to serve.
Mm.
But it's like going to your house. Like, what do you want the night to be?
yeah,
And it's like, a lot of times we'll be like, explain, if you could have this night be exactly what you wanted it to be, what would it be? And then we try to make that happen.
yeah.
Man, dude,
You know, when people say, "Oh, I love steak and potatoes," my husband loves steak and potatoes. I'm like, okay, Well, I'll give you a course of steak and potatoes, but it's not going to be a fillet. It's not going to be a ribeye.
No.
It'll be,
Our take.
you know, our take on it. So you get those flavors because you're getting 5 courses, you know?
Right.
So.
Oh man, you said something so amazing in there that it's like I'm starting, because you know, cooking is an art form, I would probably say, right? And like I've up until now, I've had a really hard time defining beauty and defining art. And I'm getting, because of this podcast, I'm getting closer to it. And like I'll backtrack a little bit of I'm saying backtrack a lot this podcast. Yeah. But so we just did, I was telling you about that film premiere that we did for our friend, and he gave a speech and it was beautiful. And it was like, hey, very similar to what you just said is, you know, you got people in here that you would never have a conversation with. You probably disagree with on a whole different level.
Yeah.
But for the next however long this movie is, you're going to go on the same emotional journey that they're going on. And you would never have that opportunity to go on that emotional journey with them. Because otherwise it's, let's say we disagree. I want to prove you wrong. You want to prove me wrong. And so I think like art, and we can piece this together, but art enables people to, you know, experience emotions with others that they couldn't experience in any other format.
You can find like a common ground.
Yeah.
Well, I think like too, it's like we always say like good food's good food to everyone.
That's right.
And like I'm also very big on like all food's delicious if it's cooked right.
Yeah.
And it's like I've had mushrooms I love, I've had mushrooms I hate, you know, but like this mushroom that's grilled and marinated in soy sauce and garlic oil, like that is bomb to anyone. And it's like those potatoes.
The potatoes that you served up at Mark's wedding. God damn. And if you're high during it, even next level.
Yeah. Well, that's like it is like, even when we were saying about meeting at this table, like I think when you can like strip away everything and you realize that we're all very similar, and while we like definitely have different opinions, and even the different opinions, they're usually rooted in the same thought. They're just like, this person thinks it's just, they have a different viewpoint of life, so they see it that way. But like at the end of the day, they did that because they love their mom, or because they love this, or they love that, or they hate this,
or they were hurt by this,
or they were hurt by this. But we all, when you like take the time to like pay attention or talk to people or sit at a table and just talk, you realize it's like we're all hurting in our own ways. We're all just trying our best and putting our best foot forward most of the time. And like, obviously not everyone falls in that boat, but it's like, I think after going to so many different houses and so many different people coming in here or whatever, it's like we all have so much in common that we just we won't stop long enough to let ourselves find that connection.
But yeah, whether this quote is 100% true or not, it's like it's impossible to hate someone and understand someone at the same time. Right? Like when you understand what they've been through.
Yeah, exactly.
How could you can trace every single step that got them there.
Yeah, it's like very rare that someone just has this like extreme belief or whatever it may be. It wasn't just like
right.
And they just thought that. Like, so if you stopped where like, I hate this because boom, 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 and you're like, oh, like I probably would hate that too had I experienced that. And I think that's separate of food. That's just life. But it's like, I think what food does is it will kind of like pull those barriers back, where it's like, you know, you got drinks flowing and you're eating food and you're just like sitting there talking, but like through the course of a meal, you like all these little things come up and you realize like, oh, I actually like this person. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, wow, maybe they said some things that I disagree with or whatever. It's like, they're a good person. And it's like, I feel like we've seen a lot of that. Like you see a lot, like, bro, you go to someone's house and see them get drunk with their family, you're going to see another side of someone.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's like, even it's wild, like the conversations people will have when you're like, right next to them. And it's like,
they're comfortable. They're comfortable.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Like you see someone in their element, it's like, they'll forget we're even in the room. And you're just wow, that was wild.
Oh, yeah.
That was wild. Damn, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, for real, literally. But
So where do you guys see St. Louis? Like, what does a great food scene in St. Louis look like in the next 5-10 years? How can we make it
I think
beautiful
our
and
food
amazing?
scene's one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
Really?
Personally. Yeah.
It's growing. I think that Midtown and downtown, I think downtown needs to, once downtown starts growing a little bit more and becoming a little bit more safe, and it's really going to take off.
Yeah.
You know, because it's
But
just like there's so many cool spots down there. It's just they're not occupied.
No, but like I'll put our food up. Like there's restaurants here that could go to New York and be just as popular. 100%.
Which one are you open to saying some of those?
Yeah, I mean, I think where we worked, Vicia.
Yeah,
I mean,
Vicia.
Vicia, they get like national recognition. Menurui,
Uh-huh.
fire, bro. You
It
put them
was number 2 on Yelp or something like that.
I mean,
right?
like, yeah, and that's like they're on Yelp. Louis,
Endo,
Uh-huh.
Sato.
and it's like those chefs are like now getting nominated for James Beard, and it's like, I mean, like we have James Beard nominated winners, you know, Gerard Kraft and Kevin Nashin, like
Yeah.
they're legit, and they were kind of like the first wave, but it seems like there's a second wave of like, and honestly, a lot of people that they trained, you know,
Fire.
that are like
Yeah.
now coming up and doing their own thing. Or I think for some people, they just see that like you can open a restaurant for a lot cheaper in St. Louis than you can in other cities.
Yep.
And they come back home.
And they come back home, you know, and it's just like, I mean, that was like, for me, is like, I was very adamant that like, I feel like I could have stayed in Iowa and done my thing and would have like built a pretty good platform, but it's like, I wanted to be in St. Louis. I wanted to be a part of it. And it's just like, it's so cool to like see the food scene grow. It's cool to like be like, you know, I used to work there, or I know that chef. And what I also love about St. Louis, and actually I feel like
we all take care of each other.
yeah, like,
you know, when you come in, we're like, oh, they used to be my chef. You're like, oh, sweet. Is there anything you want to try? They're like, yeah, I like this. You're all right. Send it out to them.
and I feel like, I don't know, like I don't know about other cities, but I know in St. Louis, like the community of chefs in restaurants, like we're better together. The better St. Louis food scene is, the better all of our restaurants
Right.
are. So it's
Yeah.
like, whether you come to my restaurant or don't come to mine, yo, my homie owns this. I got another homie that likes this, or go here, go there. And it's like, you know, a lot of other industries, they're like, they want all of it for themselves. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't care if you come here or you go there, but come to one of us or come to
Or kind
both.
of both.
Yeah. And it's like, I like my parents, they're in the modeling industry, and it's like, they get nasty. Like they do not treat, like it's very high tense competition where it's like you'll burn bridges like that. And it's like, that doesn't happen a lot. At least in our city.
Yeah.
And it's like, we all truly want every single one of our restaurants to be as big as possible, as great as possible. And it's like, if there's something I can do to make that better, like, let me know. Like, let's do a collab or whatever it is. It's like, it also is just like, I go to restaurants and I get inspired by what other people are doing. It's just like, makes you want to be even better.
Positive sum game, man.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. Wow, that's I'm gonna definitely timestamp that one out.
Yeah.
And we're putting that one in there as far as growing St. Louis goes. At the end of this, I'm gonna actually, I'll get to it, but kind of something that when I'm like wrapping up is I'll have like each of you kind of give me your answers here. Like, what's the most important thing that young people specifically should be paying attention to right now?
Like in our field or in general?
Anything.
I think what I said earlier, like if you have a dream, if you have an idea that you think is unique, like I'm so big, I'm a faithful guy. I believe God doesn't randomly place those ideas in your head. I think for us to like in the middle of a drunken state, have an idea to like, let's have people come to our loft, and we're going to make them dinner and we're just going to keep doing it. I'm such a big believer that like, if you have that idea, if you have that feeling, if you have a goal that seems crazy, like you have got to chase it. It is not by chance that you think that. I'm such a big believer that God places those things in our hearts for a reason. That's our purpose on this earth. That's our will for our life. You have to go for it. Like, and it's not going to be easy. Like, it's not supposed to be, and it's boring, honestly, if it was easy. But like you said, like those step-by-step lessons, when you look back, like that happened, that taught me this, that taught me this. But it's like, unless you just go in that direction, and it's like, think about, like, I started culinary school, I was 19 years old, and 12 years later, I opened a restaurant. I'm like 12 years is a long time, but I knew for a fact when I was 19 that I was going to open a restaurant. And I was just like, I'm not going to stop until it happens, period. And it's like, I think a lot of people, when it gets rough, or if people don't believe in them, like, people didn't believe in the Biscuit Joint. Like, one person that I told was like, you need to do that. He even thought I was crazy, not talking shit, but I was like, he was like, dude, you're nuts. Like, what are you doing opening a biscuit restaurant? But it was like, even when I got in this space, we found this space for dinner at the Loft. And when I was standing in here the first time, randomly, I'm like, we could do a biscuit restaurant. And I'm like, I could see it now. And we'll do quick service. It'll be only biscuits, and we'll have DJs over there. And like, my mom was like, you need to like spruce up the spot. And I'm like, no, it's perfect the way it is. And like, I'm serious. Like, everyone was like, you're nuts. But I had a feeling in my heart that I'm like, I'm not crazy. I know this will work. And it's like, if you feel that way and you're young, like, head that direction and just don't stop. Literally don't. I've never stopped on this. That's one of my, it's like my hat. When I moved to New York, my dad gave me that hat and was like, go work your ass off.
That's right.
And I turned around and got on an airplane and flew to New York. I was 19. And it's like, I had no reason to be in New York, but I like had an opportunity and I just went, and I literally never stopped until I got where I wanted. And I feel like that's for me. If you're young, like, you just gotta go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah. Yo, I have like over and over and over. Every time I fail, the lessons I learn about myself are, your intuition. Follow your intuition. You don't know shit about this over here. No. Follow your intuition anyway. Who gives a fuck? Yeah.
Just
what about you, Brandon?
I'd say don't rush. You know, you can speed things up, but like, don't feel like you have to rush. And because I feel like I rushed a lot, and I rushed certain things in my life without slowing down and paying attention to the things that mattered in the grand scheme of things, like my personal life, my finances, my just relationships. I was just so focused on, I just want to be the best chef. I want to be the best chef. So I worked, and I just wanted to have fun and all that. And it's like you can do all of that, but don't rush to get really good at one thing. Like, it'll come with time. And like, organize yourself in order to get to that. Don't just like constantly. That's probably my biggest piece, because there's a lot to learn day by day if you just slow down and like really pay attention to things.
Man, that's so interesting, because like, in service of rushing, like, you're going, rushing, hard at the paint. But like, what I think what the lesson that it could be taken away from that is not necessarily don't grind and don't work hard, but that work ethic and that work, like that, the way you're working isn't in service of getting there quickly. It's in service of learning the lessons to get when you get there. Yeah. And we don't realize that in the moment.
Yeah. And it's also like, what is it, like, stop and smell the flowers. Yeah. Like there's times where we're like, it's just a long day, and we're like, oh my gosh, dude. And I'm like, bro, we dreamed about this. We are sitting smack, like, this room, bro, is our dream. Like, this was my 10-year dream, and now I'm in it. And like, because I'm rushing and I'm like, what next? Go, boom, 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 boom. I'm like rushing past the fact that like I accomplished what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like, wow, that's great. There can be a next step, but like stop and realize that
Appreciate
it
it.
all mattered. Like every single step mattered and it wasn't a waste. But it's like, even if we got it and then we're just like, all right, now what? It's like, just like slow down. Like there's certain times we do it all the time where you're in the middle of service, we'll like stop and I'll be like, dude, look around.
It's so
And it's just like,
cool.
and I'm
I'll
like,
step back in the corner and I'll just like take a video, and then when I'm at home and I'm just like reflecting on my day, I'll look at that video and I just feel so happy. I'm like, look at all the people smiling.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
enjoying their biscuit and they're laughing with their friends, and especially during beats and biscuits, it's so cool because
yeah.
you really see people just standing waiting for their food, and they're dancing. People are laughing. There are people outside that already ate. They're
Just listening
dancing.
to music.
and,
Yeah.
like dancing is really good for you. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Like, it really is.
Like on a scientific level.
Like on a
Yeah.
scientific level.
Yeah.
My grandma, don't quote me, 76, and she has a dance recital. She was just in here. And she's like, are you going to come watch me dance in April? And I'm like, what date, Grandma? She's like, you better not skip out on me.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah. She dances.
Oh,
But it's
She also plays the drums for her church.
she's on the drum. She's dancing. She's on
yeah.
the
She
drums.
plays
That's
the
a fire
piano.
grandma.
Dude, his
I
grandma's
bet
fire.
she skateboards
She's
too.
so
huh?
cool.
If
She probably
could, If
can.
she could,
She
she
could,
would. Yeah.
But it's just
Oh,
like,
man.
it's also just, I think that maybe a second part is like, all you need, well, one, you got to believe in yourself. But if you find one other person that believes in it,
man.
if you like, one, you believe in yourself and your idea. If you could find one other person that believes in the idea as much as you do, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Like from there, anything can happen. Like
Man.
it's really all it is.
Yeah.
That's fire. That's absolutely fire. What's coming next? What's up next with you guys? Or what could people that are watching this expect? How do they find you? What all that stuff.
I mean, as far as what's next, I think we're really just enjoying where we're at right now. I
Amazing.
think for a fact, we want to own a fine dining restaurant someday.
Yeah.
There's definitely no timetable to any degree.
No.
We want to build the Biscuit Joint to be bigger for sure. We want to get in other cities, other parts of St. Louis. But I think right now we're just trying to like dial everything in. Like I don't want to, like we were saying, we could rush past this. You know, we had a couple opportunities to open a second location already, which I'm very thankful we decided not to, because it's just like, let's make this spot 100%, or as close as we can get it to 100%, and then we'll worry about the next step.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of come with like age, and like he was saying, like by not rushing. I think if we would have had this restaurant a couple years ago, we would have like just like boom, 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 and we would have built this thing, and then it would have like
just
collapsed.
crumbled.
And it's like, I'm thankful that we've taken the time to like get sober, to learn from other chefs, see other people do their things, and just like, I think you can learn a lot just by looking at other people. Like even in a kitchen, I had a chef that actually wasn't even a chef. He was just another cook. And he was like, if you're only learning when chef's talking to you, then you are completely wasting
Your time.
in here. You can learn a lot by watching him do that, watching
Listen-
them do that.
Listen to her
Like,
talk.
if he's
like,
talking to someone, like you can do your job and listen to what they're saying. And I think like I was saying, from 19 to 31, I've worked in so many restaurants, and it's like, we just took the time. We really tried to get as much as we could out of every single spot we were in. So it's like, I think as far as what's next, we're just like still trying to do that here. Like, what can we learn from where we are right now? Because there's more to come, and we know that. And it's like, but we don't need to force that. It'll come.
don't need to rush. There's a lot to learn right now.
Man.
Yeah.
Fire.
Fire.
Fire. Hey, appreciate you guys. This
My
is
guy.
fucking amazing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate you, brother.